to Musicians Edition. Today we continue with Mitchell Peters' Intermediate Snare Drum Studies. Last time I saw you, we did Roman numeral 1, which is the first exercise in this book. Today we're going to jump ahead to number 1, which will put us on page 13 of this book, okay? So this is going to use a lot of the same concepts that we've already covered with a few new wrinkles that we get to talk about, okay? So first off, the thing you might notice about this piece when you first glance at it is that the time signature changes quite frequently, okay? So when we think about our time signatures, we're concerned with the top number and the bottom number, okay? The top number tells us how many beats are in one measure. The bottom number tells us what type of note we're using to count that beat, okay? So when we did Roman numeral 1, our time signature was 4/4. So there were 4 beats in every measure, and we were counting a quarter note as a beat, right? Or as a pulse in music, okay? So if you look at the first line, you'll see the first measure, the time signature is 2/4. So we're just going to count 2 beats there, right? 1, 2, right? Or if you read the notes there, 1 E and 2, okay? The second measure, your top number changes to 3/4, but your bottom number stays the same, right? So we continue to count by quarter notes, but there are 3 of them in this measure, right? 1 E and 2 E and 3. In the next one, the time signature changes to 4/4, right? So your top number is 4 still, so there are 4 beats in a measure. Bottom number is still 4, so we're still counting by the quarter note. All right, so we count to 1, 2, 3, 4, or as written, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. All right, and then we're back to 3, and then later on we go back to 2 and back to 3 and back to 4, right? But using those 3 time signatures, we can get all the way through this piece, either counting to 2, counting to 3, or counting to 4. All right. The other thing that this piece has that's really interesting that we didn't see last time are dynamics, right? And dynamics are simply mean how loud or soft we're going to play, okay? Now on snare drum, our dynamics are controlled mainly by our stick heights. There are some other ways that we'll talk about down the road, but for now, we're just going to think about how high our sticks are coming off of the surface, okay? So if I want to play piano, I keep my sticks nice and low, piano meaning soft, what you'll see in the music abbreviated as P, right? So I'm going to keep my sticks nice and low. The next dynamic up from there is mezzo piano, right? Or what you'll see in music as MP, okay? Mezzo piano. And that just means medium soft, right? Or just a little bit louder than piano, okay? So I'm just going to lift my sticks a little bit higher than where I was, right? And I have a slightly louder sound, okay? The next one up is mezzo forte, right? What you'll see abbreviated as MF, or what we can think of as medium loud. So just a little bit higher from where I was at mezzo forte, or to mezzo forte from mezzo piano. Okay? And then the last one that you'll see in this piece is forte, right? And that is going to be our highest stick height for this piece of music, okay? All right, so using those 4 dynamics and those 3 time signatures, we can get our way through the piece, but there's one more thing we need to talk about before we give it a go here. If you look at the third line down, the first measure, you see 2 lines that start together and then they slowly move apart, right? And then if you look at the fourth line, first measure, you see the opposite. They start apart and then they slowly move together, okay? These are what we call crescendos or decrescendos, right? When they're getting bigger, or when the lines are moving further apart, we call that a crescendo, right? When the lines are getting closer together, we call that a decrescendo. And crescendo means we're getting louder, decrescendo means we're getting softer, okay? So when we see dynamics without a crescendo or decrescendo, then we're changing suddenly, right? Or immediately. If you see a crescendo or decrescendo, we're changing gradually, right? So if you look at that first crescendo in the third line, first measure, we're starting at piano, and then we're ending at forte, right? And we're using those 16th notes to get there, all right? So we have 2 E and 3 E and 4, okay? The next one down, decrescendo, we're doing the opposite. We're starting at forte, and we're using those 4 beats of 1 andas to get all the way down to piano. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay? Now, other than that, there are just a couple of tricky rhythms in this piece that we didn't see last time. So if you look third line down, second measure, you'll see 2 16th notes followed by an 8th rest, right? And we can think of this as the rhythm we saw last time, 1 E and, right? Just this time, instead of playing the 8th note on the and of the beat, we're just going to leave it out, which gives us this sound, 1 E and, right? 1 E and. So we're going to think and, we're just not going to play and, right? So same thing as 1 E and, just without the third note, 1 E and, okay? The opposite of that you'll see later on in this piece is 8th rest on at the beginning of the beat and then 2 16th notes, right? And we can think of that as 1 and that we saw last time. Just the difference is we don't play the first note. We just play the 16th notes after the beat, right? So we have rest and right? 1 and Now, if we combine all the rhythms we saw last time with those two options, with the time signatures and the dynamics, we ought to be able to make our way through this thing, okay? So we'll take it nice and slow, and we'll I'll talk you through some of the counting. I'll talk you through some of the dynamics, okay? So here we go from the beginning, nice and easy. Ready? 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1 E and a 2, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3, forte. Mezzo piano, 2 and 3 and forte, piano, and rest, crescendo, 3, 4, 1 E and 2 E and a rest, 1 E and a 2 E and a rest, 1 E and a rest, and a 3 E and 4 E and a 1 and a decrescendo, 3, 4, 1 and a 2, little louder, forte, 1 and a 2, 1 E and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 E and a 1, piano, 2 E and a 1, forte, rest, crescendo, 2, 3, forte, 2, 3, decrescendo, 2, 3, piano, 1, 2, 3 E and a rest, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E rest, 4 E rest, rest, and a 2 E and a 3, 4, rest, rest, and a 2, rest, and a 4 E and rest, and a 2 E and a 3, 4, forte. Crescendo, 1, 2, 3, piano. A little louder. A little more. Forte. Okay, so see how you do with that? Go ahead and feel free to stop and break down different parts if there's a specific point that's giving you trouble, a couple of measures or whatever. Stop for a second, break that down, work it out, get used to it, right? And then come back, and we're going to try this a little faster last time through, and we'll just see how you do, okay? All right, good luck. We'll see you at the end. 1 and 2, and ready, go. right, so one more time through, a little bit faster. Let's see how you do. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and... All right, so that's Mitchell Peters, Intermediate Snare Drum Studies, number 1 on page 13. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy practicing. I'll see you next time.